Welcome to Promote Profit Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and we are continuing with the Amazon changes today. If you've been listening over the last 2 weeks, you've heard about the algorithm changes and how the Perfect Reader Playbook addresses those changes. Basically, in a nutshell, Amazon has gone to the long game, which is really refreshing because so many people have gotten their moniker, I'm an Amazon bestseller, and they can do it with very few books. I was actually at an event in 2016, and there was a guy on the stage talking about his publishing company, and he was an international bestseller. And I have a program that tells me how many books have been sold. And so I was sitting there, and one of the ladies next to me said, "Hey, how many books does it take to be an international bestseller? How many do you have to sell?" Well, I pulled out my computer and I logged into the program that tells me, and it was three. It was three books that he sold and that made him an international bestseller. He sold in one of the countries that had been there, but he had overall sold only about 10 books, even with that other country that was in there. So it didn't take much to cheat the system. And I'm finally happy that Amazon is recognizing that. Our company has not sold a bestseller campaign in over 6 months because it no longer supports the overall goals of what people are trying to do. And great, to be really frank, Amazon probably realized that it doesn't mean much to be an Amazon bestseller when you can become a bestseller by putting someone in an obscure category. That's what most people do to get that accomplished. So the performance shift here is really to get rid of these launch spikes and play the long performance game, which I think really pushes authors into the place where they needed to be to begin with. Because what typically happens is there's this launch spike, and then by the end of the first month, these people have already quit promoting their books. Yes, some of them will buy promotions here and there, but they've really gotten discouraged because someone out there told them that it's easy to sell books, and it's not. Even when you have a good platform, sometimes it's difficult to sell books. So I think the other thing that this does is for years, authors were pretty much taught to really stress over launch week. People got obsessed with it. How am I going to get people to buy this book? I really want that Amazon bestseller. I really, really, and they had all these goals that were around the launch. So they would stack promos, they would blast their list, they'd run on a bunch of ads, they'd grab the bestseller tag, and they would hope it sticks. So the game board changed in that when Amazon changed their algorithms. I can't speak today. So we're going to talk about what today's visibility and ranking is shaped and how your book behaves through all of these things that are now required. Now, here's the good news about this. I have been preaching for years about an author platform because that's where I found my best success. And when I came from traditional publishing, that was one of the criteria. They were actually building it for you, but not in the same way. So I'm actually really excited about this because I feel like Amazon is really tightening up the game. So let's look at how this performance, how that long game is going to help you over time. So instead of evaluating your title only in real time, Amazon is now looking at the longer performance horizon. So the launch, believable sales patterns, and how to actually, their AI is looking to beat those one-time frames. So sales patterns, are you selling a little bit every week, or did you spike and crash? Also, are you selling over time? I have a particular client who did a lot of events in January. She sold a lot of books. It's sort of spiked off now. She has a once a quarter sales push. So in Amazon's patterning, they're going to see that at the beginning of every quarter, she has an event and she sells a significant amount of books, not so much in between. Those are what they're looking for, those consistent, believable patterns, not the one-time spike and then you don't sell any books ever again. Now, they're also looking for reader satisfaction. And this is one area where people don't do very well. The review process, they're looking for believable reviews. And I'm here to tell you there is a trend that I see growing that is only hurting the people that are using it. I think I mentioned in the previous episodes, back in probably 2010 to 2013, you could go over to Fiverr and you could buy reviews there. Amazon caught on. There was another platform that was doing it as well. Amazon caught on and they threatened to sue those platforms for fraud. So they took those people off. The other trend that happened during that time period is, you'll remember, we had Hotmail, we had Gmail, we had all these different things going on, is people were opening up fake Gmail, Hotmail, whatever mail accounts and writing their own reviews. And here's the one thing most people don't know. Amazon is Big Brother. They actually have spiders that go out. So they caught these people doing these things. So when it comes to the reader satisfaction piece, if you are engaging in any of those book clubs that are really scams, they've been sending out emails, they're very flattering. They catch people all the time because everybody wants to think their book is valuable and that people really, really want it. Those emails have been going out, people are consuming it. And what they're doing is they're putting unverified reviews and they're swarming them over on Amazon. Amazon's AI is catching that. And I talked to a group yesterday that I do a lot of business with because we discussed a client of mine that got caught up in that. And we were really afraid her account was going to get deleted. And the reason we thought that is because we saw the reviews on an account of theirs, the company that I was talking to. Their account, their reviews got frozen. So that author had a really tough time. It took them about 9 months to get that account back in full. You don't want that to happen. And so they're looking for reviews and ratings and returns that are improving, not degrading over time. So they're really favoring those books where the readers are saying they're happy out of the launch, but they want verified readers. They don't want people that just saw somebody at an event, bought the book. If you didn't buy the book on Amazon, you probably shouldn't be reviewing on Amazon because it's not carrying much weight. And then again, the spikes. Don't buy into these book clubs. I have published 10 books. I have a magazine. I've received these emails from for pretty much every single book, plus particular issues of the magazine, which that's where I really caught on to what they were doing, because we did an experiment a couple of years ago where we actually put our magazine issues over on Amazon. And I was like, why would they find my magazine? Well, that was the reason. So they were just scraping Amazon somehow and getting emails and reaching out to authors. And again, I'll tell you that the emails are extremely flattering. They answer, they're super nice, but they don't tell you that Amazon is going to shut them down at some point. And that will happen. I guarantee it, because they are really into reader satisfaction. And this is not reader satisfaction, it's faking reviews. They're also looking at catalog behavior, so buyer behavior on this. And what that means is, do they just buy one book from your series? This is especially for fiction authors, and then never come back. Now, I'm one of those people. I'm probably their ideal buyer if you're a fiction writer, because if I find one book that is good, I will go through and buy every book. I have spent a whole summer on CJ Box and every book in his library. I've spent J.A. Jance, every book in her library, every book in Janet Ivanovich. If I find a good one, I will sit there and time in it and really relish in the series, in the characters and all that. So they're looking for that buyer behavior as well. In fact, right now I'm on a Lisa Unger tear. So, and I would say that most people do buy books in that way. They have their favorite authors. I follow people on Amazon every time, and Audible, mostly Audible. Every time a Michael Connelly book comes back out, I'm notified. Every time, there are tons of authors that I follow there. Brad Thor, Jack Carr. When their books come out, I'm notified, hey, the book is in pre-sale, and I've got that in my cart in pre-sale, buying it sometimes months before it even comes out. So they're really looking at that catalog behavior. They're also looking at the behavior of, you've probably seen at the bottom that the people bought this book with this other book. And so I have several authors that have books and they have journals or workbooks with them. You want to get to the point where you're getting people to buy both of those, because The more you can reinforce that behavior with your readers that you're bringing in externally, the more that's going to come up on Amazon in that people bought this book too. And I will do that sometimes as well with nonfiction books. I will go and get a recommended. So I want you to take all of this in and think of it as an every 90 to 180 days as a new report card for your book. So Amazon is constantly regrading you based on how you're doing, not just what happened on release day. So this is really, really important. You may see your book in the new releases, but you're not going to see your book pushed as much as in the regular catalog for particular categories. So why they did this, and these launch fireworks aren't going to last anymore. You can still create a a launch spike, but the algorithm is going to treat it more like a short-term experiment rather than a permanent promotion. And so when you stack discounts, promos, and ads into that narrow window, Amazon will briefly boost you, but they're looking to see if that interest is real and sustainable, which in most people it isn't. You're going to see that most people, the sales fall off the cliff, like I've mentioned. Reviews are lukewarm or negative, and there's no repeat buying or follow-on activity. That's where you have to get really good at this to keep your ranking, because your visibility normalizes or drops way below where you started. And so launch week is now a trial. It's not a trophy. And I think that is a very, very good thing that they're forcing authors to play the long game here. So here's what good performance looks like for Amazon over time. You have a steady baseline of sales, so a reliable trickle of sales most weeks, punctuated by some occasional believable bumps. I just mentioned that one of our authors does a first quarter or beginning of the quarter event. So January, April, July, and October. So they're going to see Amazon's going to see spikes over those time periods because she's pushing her event, she's pushing her book at the event as well. So they're looking for that. They're looking for sales, on a weekly or monthly basis. And what's really great is I do have several authors. They don't have big sales, but they'll sell between 3 and 10 books every single month. That's the kind of behavior. I mean, of course, we want it on a bigger basis, but those authors always rank really well in their categories just because they've kept that up over time. And some of those books have been out since 2020, 2021, and they still in 2026 have those consistent sales. Another person who does a lot of entrepreneurial work that I would give kudos to is Nancy Mayer. Her book for entrepreneurs who want to start advisory boards, she sells books every single month. It's not an overwhelming amount, but every single month she has at least one sale, and most months more than one sale. They're also looking for stable and improving reviews. So a review profile that is verified and is positive, and looking at these growing in count is always a good thing. They're trying to minimize the ones that didn't meet expectations. And the reason they're doing that is because if you notice with that launch spike, a lot of times books will get really positive reviews, and they're not verified reviews. They're people that have been told to go over, their friends or neighbors, their work people. And so they've gone over and they've written glowing reviews without buying the book. You want those verified reviews. And the other thing you notice is those good reviews will drop off over time, because if the book isn't truly great, somebody's going to buy it. They're going to be disappointed. I just saw on one of my clients that someone said, "Don't buy this book. It's a waste of time." It's horrible. It's been out for 2 or 3 years. They said it was just generic advice. That happens. But luckily we have enough good verifiable reviews that will counteract that. Now, what we can't do, and I will tell you, we're in the process right now, is we have to go back in. One of our people I mentioned bought one of those book clubs. They have a ton of unverified reviews now. Luckily, they have more positive verified, but still we have to go in and counteract that somehow. So we have to go back and get positive reviews. We're going to build out some other things, and we're going to go do some things to boost sales, because obviously we have to overcome what just happened with the algorithms and keep her account from getting shut down. Also, they're looking for growing catalog engagement, your backlist. If you are an author who has several books like I do, I should be going back and really going through and running promos and getting my list and all those organic sources interested in those older books again. Now, for my nonfiction books, that may not be as easy because they're on different categories in book marketing. Like Pitch Slapped is not really related. That's more about a lead magnet that was really efficient back in probably 2017 to 2021. Not a lot of people are using it now. So I may not want to go back and really work on that on my backlist. But what I could do is I have 6 fiction novels and I could go back and really refresh those. I don't spend a lot of time on those at this point in my career, but I could go back and do that. And maybe it'll even inspire me to write another fiction novel because I haven't written a mystery novel in years. And they're looking for, again, the other thing is consistent conversion. So they're looking for a product page that keeps converting visitors, keeps buyers coming back even after the initial excitement phase fades. So my advice on that is get your A1, A plus content built out. Let them know that you're in alignment and you have these things because remember, they're looking for those you to push through your external sources now, which means that they're looking for you to bring people. It's that author platform you should have built at the beginning. Now they're rewarding you for having one and sort of not rewarding you, penalizing you for not ever building it. So let's talk a little bit about how that content shapes all of this for long-term performance. This is where your content strategy really becomes critical. And if you want to know more, go back to our last episode because we talk about it in depth. Good content doesn't happen by accident. It's fueled by consistent, intentional content that keeps sending the right readers back to your book over and over. So what that means, and this is why podcasters that have books are in such an amazing position right now, because they probably have, if you're like me, I have over 400 episodes. I can go back through those episodes and add my book link to every single one of them. And that will be a way for people to connect to my podcast and get those people to go in and read the books as well. So ways to really juice this. Go back to your evergreen articles and episodes if you're a podcaster, a blog poster, even your YouTube channel. Make sure that your book links are over there to continue to attract new buyers. One of the things I love about Tracy Hazard, Podetize, their system, I can run ads for my book in there. And unlike other podcasting systems where the ad only goes into the episode that I've just currently produced, theirs runs the ad all the way back through every episode. And if you're like most podcast listeners, if you find a good podcast, you'll go back and listen to several. So that those ads are reinforcing sending you over to Amazon through your book. The other thing is making sure that your book is always in the show notes, making sure it's always on blog posts, making sure that you put it in that evergreen portion of YouTube. So there's a portion in your YouTube studio where you can put links in there and those links automatically come up with every single episode or every single video that you put out there. Looking at your backlist content and being relentless about it. So going to those older blog posts where you may have put in one of your previous books. Keep that one in and add the new one in. Go back and put some of those older, I know we're always trying to freshen our marketing, but making sure that some of those backlist books are in all of those newer pieces as well. So your backlist keeps getting refreshed in there. My experience with the fiction novels was my first one didn't sell much, worked on my platform. My second one sold more. By my third one, people were going back and buying my first and second book. So it's good to make sure that you have, with every current release, you have some of those back books in there. Or if you're an author who has a big series, like if you're someone like that, let's say I was just talking about J.A. Jans. She has several different series. she could send them back to the Google link that says J.A. Jance books in order. That's where I go to find, and then I start buying from there. So, because I always want to keep it in order. I could go to Amazon, but Amazon doesn't always have them in the right order there for a series. So if you have a lot of books and you're a fiction author, go back and attach that page so people can buy from that page. Series oriented content. I think I just covered that. But you could do some additional behind the scenes posts. You could do some character spotlights, especially if you're fiction. You might want to talk about, I'm going to pick on J.A. Jance again. You might want to go back to how she came to create the character of Allie Reynolds. Like, where did that come from? She had a whole series of her own books there. Why you kept the series going. Why did you choose this particular location? J.A. Jance's books are, for the most part, take place in Arizona. Well, the Allie Reynolds series and one of the other series in Arizona, one of them up in Washington. So why did you choose that area? For me, if you look at my old series, they kind of relate around some of my childhood places I grew up. So you could talk about that. I really had to get in and research history in those areas. So instead of all burning all of your great stories and everything in your launch, just rip them out over time. Keep some of them a secret. Keep people intrigued. So the other thing, marketing strategies that'll improve your performance over time. Plan 6 to 12 months around your book. Don't just plan. I mean, I know a lot of my authors, I talk to them and they're like, I think I'll post something today. We try really hard for you guys to put a content calendar together. In this case, putting a content calendar together is really going to benefit you in a big way. So when you have a campaign, put it out there 3, 6 months. Go to your Go High Level or whatever you use and put that campaign in. Have those social media posts there and just ready to go. Have that email list sending out emails weekly, ready to go, talking about whatever you're going to talk about this week. This doesn't have to be an on the fly thing. You can plan it all out. AI is fabulous. You can ask. I do this all the time. Hey, take this book and give me 6 months worth of social media posting 3 times a week. It'll give you those posts. Then you can go find the graphics. Then you can go find the links. You can do whatever you want there. Like I said, scheduling those recurring mini campaigns. That's basically what you're doing. So if you have a backlist, I could spend 1 month putting out posts about Gypsy. I could spend another for Granny Highs. I could spend another 30-day mini campaign on Dead by Dawn. So you can take those backlists and do mini campaigns around them as well. Build entry points to your catalog. So have something on your website that maybe has, here are all my books that I have. And so maybe it's a book page where they can click and go in from your website. Those are the kinds of things, those external links that Amazon is looking for. Monitor and repair friction. So if reviews come and they're telling you that there are problems with the books, fix it. Fix the problem in the book. I could go back. I have one book that I have actually have 3 books where I didn't know how bad my editor was until people started making editing comments. Now I could go back and fix that and say revised and put something about, that the editing has been fixed on this, or, I could let people know that, we all run into those bad people in the industry. And that's what happened to me is I wrote I released 3 books right in a row, and they were all edited by the same person, and the editing was not great. So go back and repair those things. If you go back to, I think 2 episodes ago, I talked about the things you should do before you start engaging in this. Go back and look. Is your cover current? Is your copy good? I talked to somebody last week that kind of broke my heart. He's like, why isn't my book selling? I pulled his book up and I have to tell you, the copy was bad. The cover was bad. Like I could tell right off the bat that he's self-published because things weren't done very well. And so I wanted to do this because I want you to start thinking about rethinking your book success. Let go of those bestseller moments and really move yourself into sustainable momentum is what we're trying to do. So I love what this is doing for people though, because it's making you rely on your platform and you're depending less on really high stress and most of the time expensive launch stunts. It also gives you that new piece of content, which is an asset for you, your company, and your book. And you should have been doing that all along. And most people that come to me for their author and publishing their platform build didn't start that until the book was written, which is far too late to start. And that, well, I mean, you can start anytime, but far too late to sell books on a consistent basis and have a reader base in place. And then every single book release, if you're an author that has one more than one, really strengthen. This is an opportunity to strengthen the performance of your entire catalog, your backlist, and your current releases. So, all right. When we refer to this, I want to remind you we have the Perfect Reader Playbook. We designed the Perfect Reader Playbook because we knew that this was happening. And this is your opportunity to strengthen your metadata, strengthen that avatar. We have a free course you can take, but we have a free webinar right now that you can go over and find out more about how all of this layering works and what you should be producing. You can go over to the Perfect Reader Playbook webinar.com. It's free. It's about, I think, a half hour long, and it'll really go through what you need to improve and what the typical patterns are that Amazon is trying to correct. So, all right, see you next episode.